Hey guys. Okay, so we're actually going to work on finding the percent of a number. So, okay. So one of the first things I want us to remember is when we are talking about the percent is per 100, okay? So that's just percent, per 100. So, for example, we might have find 5% of 300. So what they're asking us to do, okay, well, there are a couple different ways we can do this. So, way one, okay, how do you write 5% as a fraction? Well, remember how we were talking before. Percents are always of 100. They're always out of 100. That's just how that works because it's percent. So how many cents, how many pennies do you need to make a dollar, to make a dollar? 100. I just gave that away. So it's find 5%, so 5 over 100. This of really means multiply. Now 300. Now, do you remember what goes under that 300? It's kind of like that magical, mystical, imaginary, invisible number? Yes, it is a 1. Good. And now all I have to do is multiply straight across. So 5 times 300 is 1,500 over 100. Okay? So when you take 1,500 and you divide it by 100, you end up with 15. Yay! So that we just found 5% of 300. Okay? Now, there is another way. So let me change this. The other way, so this is if you're doing it as a fraction. The other way, so this is version 2. If we take that 5% and we change it into a decimal. So remember how we were talking about when you're at 5%, you need to go from a decimal to a percent. We move it 2 times to the right. To go backwards, we need to go 2 times to the left. So this 5, 1, 2 really becomes 0.05. That of does not change. It is still of, so multiply by 300. So on your calculator, handy dandy nifty calculator, 0.05 times 300. Oh look, it gives us 15. So again, it's going to equal 15. So it's the same answer. This is just 2 different ways to find it. So it depends on how they want you to do this. If it says find 5% of 300, so this is the fraction way, because it might ask you to do this as a fraction, or it might ask you to do this as a decimal. So make sure you're reading the questions really carefully. Okay, so find the percent of a number. We can do it as a fraction or we can do it as a decimal. Okay, let's try another one. So this one says find 25%. So let's just move this down. A little too much. Find 25% of 180. Again, I'm going to do this in 2 different ways. I'm going to do this as a fraction and I'm going to do this as a decimal. And it depends on how it's phrased. If it says find 25% of 180 as a fraction, you would do it this way. If it says find 25% of 180 as a decimal, you would do it in version 2. So as a fraction, 25% is 25 over 100. That of does not change. It is still that multiplication. And remember, we are at that point where we are using a dot to represent multiplication, not an X, please. And then 180, but it's really over what? Yep, it's over 1. And so now I'm going to do 25 times 180, which gives me 4,500. 100 times 1, well, that's 100. Okay? Now, when you take 4,500 and divide it by 100, we are left with what? Good, 45. And again, this is how we do this if this is asking for us to do this as a fraction. Okay, let's think about this. How are we doing this as a decimal? Sorry, a percent. Come on, Miss Curtin. Okay, so I'm going to take that 25, and remember I have to convert it, so I'm going to move the decimal 2 times. So this is really 0.25 of, which is that times, 180. So 0.25. So 0.25 times 180, and we get 45. And this is the decimal version. Okay. I know you guys love these. I want you to try some, okay? So let's see. Let's do this in purple. You know how much I love my colors. And this is what I call the you try portion. So what this means is that you're going to give this a try. So you're going to pause the video after, so write down the problem, then we're going to pause the video. You can do it either as a fraction or as a decimal, your choice. Just pick one of them. So 40%, so you're finding 40% of 70. You are finding 15% of 100. I want you to try 55% of 160, and then I want you to try 75% of 280. So you're going to try these because these are your you tries. I'm going to be right back. Pause the video, please. Try them. Then we'll check back and we will check our work. Okay? Okay. Woohoo! We're back. Yes. I know you guys all did these. I personally like really doing them by fractions, but I like them because it's really easy for me. Because it's always over 100. Percents are always over 100, which makes my life so much easier. Of 70 over 1. This becomes 280 over 100. So this is going to be 2.8. Again, you could have also done this where you use 0.40. I like it this way. Oh my goodness, Miss Curtin, you are so wrong. It is 2,800. Good catch, guys. So this is really 28. Don't forget when you're multiplying, watch those zeros. Okay, B, 15% of 100. 15 over 100 of 100. Remember, it's over 1. I like doing these because this gets me really used to multiplying fractions and when we do proportions. Okay, so it's going to be 1,500 over 100, which is just going to give me 15. Okay, good. Okay, so C, 55 over 100 of, remember the of is that multiplication, so it's 160 over 1. So 55 times, that's really good with all the even ones and the nice ones. And now we have 8,800 over 100, or 8,800. And when you divide those, remember, these actually just cancel out like this. It's pretty nice. So then we are just left with 88. Okay. If you've gotten these three, go, yay! That's what I do. Okay. For D is going to be 75 over 100 of 280 over 1. Oh, we get a really big number. So it is 21,000 divided by 100. Remember, what we're just going to do is cancel out the zeros on the top and the bottom. So I have 1 0 here, so there's the 0. 1 0 here, so here's a 0, which leaves me with 210. Okay, if you got 3 of them out of 4 correct, woohoo! Make sure you check your work. If you got all 4, do the happy dance, do the happy dance. And if you missed them, that's okay. Just go back and look at what happened. I bet you it was a really tiny mistake, kind of like I did with that 2.8. Okay, otherwise, have a great day. I'll see you guys later.